scary basement. Each week, me and my friend Roxy are drawn inexplicably and supernaturally to this very basement, which is full of steampunk grim reapers, haunted swing sets that are fun, a being made of pure light, and one king cobra curled around a gun. I'm Mikey McCollor.
And I'm Roxy Polk.
Roxy, let's start out, as we always do, with the scariest things that happened to us this week outside of the scary basement. Roxy, what went down in your life that spooked you to your bones?
So this is going to be a very specific thing that will have to include links to this episode, because I'm going to do my best to describe it, but my description is not going to be able to do it justice as much as just seeing this thing for yourself. It's this talented sculptor who I want to say there's a lot of skill involved in this, but I'm still terrified of it. That doesn't make it any less scary just because it's, like, well done.
Ooh.
He collected discarded cat hair and then made 3 full-sized, life-size Catmen out of discarded cat hair.
These things are... Okay, so you sent me this photograph.
Yeah, and so on...
And I'm looking at it. They're monster creatures.
Yeah, they're absolutely horrifying, and, like, one has... Or no, they've got their dicks dangling out as well. It's just, like, an added part of how unsettling it makes it. Their eye, like, the face is very uncanny, and they have weird cat eyes, and they're kind of, like, elongated.
You know what? They look kind of like characters designed by the character designers, like, of Rick and Morty.
Oh.
They're, like, the eyes are kind of shifted a little bit, and they're, like, kind of weird and round and gross in that specific Rick and Morty way.
And then one of them is, like, embracing a cat made out of cat hair as well, that also has longer little noodle arms, so it's also kind of off. So they're in that uncanny valley thing. And so, like, okay, let me credit the artist on Twitter is MarMapus, and then they also have a Instagram account called Gravel Blot. So if you want to check those out. And also, as much as I am terrified and wish I had never seen these, I'm also just very impressed at the skill it took to make these things.
Yeah, very scary.
I'm terrified of cat hair men, Mikey.
I don't like that they're made of cat hair. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah. It's a fear I didn't know I had, but now I know I have it. So great. Cool.
Mine involves a picture as well, my scary thing that happened to me. And I guess we'll have to just have a visual week for scary things. This entire month, we've had Michael Myers with us in the scary basement. And gosh, how to do this without breaking the mythology. I was leaving Starbucks in real life. I was going out the drive-thru, and, like, you turn into traffic, and there was a car in front of me, you know, like, just stopped at a stoplight so I couldn't turn out. And, you know, you're done at Starbucks, you're swiping up on your phone, you use the app, you're taking your mask off. You put your mask on when you go talk to the drive-thru people. You're not a monster. And I looked up, and looking at me from the car in real life was Michael Myers.
This photo, you sent it to me. Did you send it to me, like, unprompted? And then I was like, What?
So he startled me. And this is a real thing. This is like I was actually out living my life. And I got startled by a Michael Myers.
That exists. And I'm sure we can attach it also to, like, the Podbean episode listing. I don't think, like, iTunes or I don't know about any of the other ones if that allows us to do it. But also, did you put this on your Twitter, Mikey? So can people see
No,
that?
I haven't.
Okay.
I will when the episode launches.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so you can see it on Mikey's Twitter, which is just his name at Twitter.
I did have to, like, pull some traffic maneuvers to, like, get back up and, like, get next to him so I could take the picture. And when I did, he nodded at me solemnly.
Yeah, like, the thing is, he turned to look at you. He's, like, looking at you in this photo, so it's like, he knows what you were doing. He knows you're taking a photo of him.
Very scary.
He saw you leave the scary basement, Mikey, so he just followed you home. That's where he is all week, too. He's just been hiding outside your house this whole time.
Yeah, you know what? We do have Michael Myers right here with us. We can just turn to him and ask, Michael Myers, what was the deal? What were you out doing? Okay, God forbid I try to start a conversation with you.
I mean, you know how this goes. Unless he decides to step up to the mic like he did last week, I don't think you're gonna get anything from him. Or wait, do you have a chocolate for him? Give him a chocolate, maybe.
I forgot he likes chocolate.
Oh, yeah, give him a chocolate. Do you have any? I didn't bring any this week.
Absolutely not.
Okay, well, never mind then. Scratch that.
Oh God, here he is. The demon bot.
Demon bot.
Strolling on up.
Mikey and Roxy, this week you were assigned to watch the 2021 film Halloween Kills, directed by David Gordon Green and starring Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer, and Andy Matishik. Did you watch the film, or are your souls forfeit?
Yes, I watched it. I watched Halloween Kills.
I did watch that film.
Good, then you may keep your souls.
Cool.
For now.
Okay. Well,
Cool.
Yep,
Good.
did it again.
I'm starting to catch on.
Good. Okay. I don't know.
I'm getting less invested. For anybody listening at the scary basement cellar door who has not seen Halloween Kills, what do you say we give them a little bit of a plot recap?
Let's do that. Let's go over the movie.
Great. Halloween Kills. We open on Cameron, the boyfriend from the last movie, stumbling upon the body of Frank Hawkins, who was stabbed by Michael Myers' doctor in the last film. But he's still alive. He has himself a little flashback to his first encounter with Michael back in 1978. Here, Hawkins accidentally shot his partner instead of Michael Myers, right before Michael was apprehended.
We then get reacquainted with Tommy Doyle, the kid who was being babysat by Laurie in 1978, who is hanging at a bar with his childhood bully, Lonnie, a nurse who escaped Michael Myers, Marion Chambers, and fellow former child Lindsay Wallace, who was the other kid who was being babysat across the way. All of these people survived Michael on that very same Halloween night in 1978. And wouldn't you know it, the TV above the bar has a news report about the crashed bus from a mental institution, and 2 patients have escaped. A cute little, the Penguin from Batman looking guy, and Michael Myers himself.
Then it's time to see what Laurie and the fam are up to. In the back of the truck that they hopped into at the end of the last movie, Laurie, her daughter Karen, and her granddaughter Allison see firefighters on the way to Laurie's blazing home. "Let it burn," Laurie cries, but to no avail, because those firefighters let Michael Myers out of the basement, only to immediately get karate murdered by the big lug. Hard day at the office.
Then a lot of things happen at once. Laurie gets surgery to save her life. Karen finds out Michael isn't dead. Tommy thinks he sees Michael in the back of a bar patron's car. Spoiler, it's actually not Michael. It's the cute little other mental patient escapee. Tommy puts together a gang of Haddonfield regulars to hunt Michael down. "Evil dies tonight," they cry, for the first of many times. And many, many, many times.
Allison then rejoins her boyfriend Cameron and hops in on the revenge gang. She picks up a shotgun. Meanwhile, the group of Mary and Lindsay and those 2 bar patrons, who are a doctor and a nurse, confront Michael Myers in a park. Damn, do most of them get murdered. Lindsay, though, is able to escape as Michael moves on, heading towards his childhood home.
Back at the hospital, a cutie pie mental patient shows up, and Tommy and the rest of the mob mistake him for Michael somehow. They chase the guy up to the roof, all while Karen tries to help him, but unfortunately he gets cornered, which leads him to jump out the window to try and escape, and he sadly splatters himself all on the sidewalk. What have we become? Many members of the mob presumably ask themselves.
Now, most of our major players are convening on the Myers family home. Michael appears and kills its current owners, Big John and Little John, the best characters in history. Then, Lonnie, Cameron, and Allison go inside the Myers home, where Lonnie and Cameron are killed by Michael, and Allison breaks her leg at the bottom of the stairs. Finally, Karen appears at the last minute to save her daughter from Michael. There, she rips off his mask and leads him out of the house and into a trap.
That's right, the entire town surrounds Michael, and they beat him, and stab him, and shoot the shit out of him. Michael Myers is for sure dead this time, right? Oh wait, until he isn't. When everyone thinks it's over, Michael gets back up and kills Tommy, Sheriff Brackett, and then, finally, Karen, who is hanging out at Michael's sister's bedroom for some reason. Damn, that was a movie.
That was the movie.
That was the movie.
Halloween Kills. Roxy.
Uh-huh.
You know, I write these little plot recaps sometimes. And,
yep, this is your episode.
This one was much shorter than any other one because you can sum it up by there's a long sequence where Michael kills a lot of people.
Yeah, that's probably the highlight of this is the amount of carnage that Michael gets into and like the effects and everything. Definitely the best part of the movie, I'd say.
So
where he just feels like an unstoppable monster killing like an army of townspeople.
I had so much fun with this movie. It sounds like you're maybe not as high on it as I was. What's going on? What didn't you like about it?
There were a lot of things I didn't like about the movie. It's kind of hard to even know where to start. In a way, let me see. I got a lot of things written down.
Okay, all right.
So
Roxy just unrolled a scroll, and at the top it says Roxy's list of grievances.
I'm going to send it to the director, and he's going to have to read it. It's going to be very cool. I guess a big thing that I think this movie suffers from is it is the middle of a trilogy. So it is like the middle movie, and feels very much like it feels afloat. It feels disjointed. There is no main character in this movie. We shuffle between so many different perspectives. And I don't know. I kind of feel like, what was the point of it? Like, I got to the end of it and was kind of like, we weren't really that much different at the end of this than we were at the end of the previous movie. It's just like some old people who came back. Like, I don't need to see Tommy Doyle as an adult have a monologue on stage for what felt like 30 minutes. That whole sequence, that's like when I started checking out of the movie, actually. He gets up on stage and has like this very long, overly dramatic, kind of weirdly acted, which that I think that actor in general just kind of like felt weird to me. I don't know. Maybe that's just a personal taste thing, but just he would get so much screen time and kind of just have like this one kind of weird expression. And I don't know. He just had this long monologue about how Michael was super evil and killed a bunch of people. Whereas, like, that's another thing, too. I will say real
quick, on that scene, I will say that takes place at a talent show. It's such a weird, like, I understand what...
It's so out of place, like, what?
I understand what they're doing. It's like not the worst way to get that character Tommy to like give the exposition, to tell like what his deal is, what the deal is with Michael Myers, kind of how he relates to them. But it needed to be like a The Moth storytelling show. As opposed to like, that scene opens with like three mermaids singing a song on Halloween at a bar talent show. And then like, what, his talent is
that he survived,
creepy?
that he was 8 years old. Laurie told him to go upstairs, hide, and then go get the police, and that was all he did.
And he did.
And that's his talent. That's the thing, too. It just felt like he co-opted the entire bar to do this thing. And so another issue that I had is the gravity with which this movie treats Michael, because it's retconning, getting rid of every movie except for the first movie. So in the first movie, Michael killed his sister as a child, and then he killed, like, 4 or 5 teens? Then, like, 20 years later, then that was it. Then 20 years passes, and then he breaks out and does shit. But, like, the mythology of why the town finds him so infamous would make more sense if more of those movies were canon, I think. Because it doesn't feel like a dude who killed, like, 5 people in the 70s would be really that relevant for people to give a shit about or talk about 20 minutes later in the same way.
That's not a bad point.
And also just, like, the fact that, is he supernatural or is he just a guy? Because he just feels like an unstoppable killing machine, which is fun to watch. But then when you, like, think about it for a second, it's just kind of like, just make him like a supernatural creature or something so I don't have to think about how this doesn't make sense.
I will say that is what made me love this movie's ending, which has gotten a lot of talk. It looks like the town beats Michael to death.
Yes,
it feels like
appear.
Cinematically they tell you Michael Myers is dead. The town has won. This is over. And then he just isn't. And I was watching it and I was just like blown away. And I was like kind of enamored with the idea that like, yes, he is a supernatural monster now.
They won't say it though. The director straight up says like, I don't think he's supernatural. It's like, are you sure you straight up fucking made him a supernatural killer at this point?
Well, that's why like I never like, I'm a big believer in throwing away author's intent. Like, I don't care what the director says. Like, I'm watching that movie. Michael Myers is supernatural. And if he didn't want him to appear supernatural, then he made a mistake in his filmmaking. But, like, love that he's supernatural. I think that's super funny and interesting. And, I mean, Laurie does have this weird speech at the end that is kind of unprompted that I sort of like. Laurie spends the entire movie in the hospital.
Yeah, which
does
is
not engage
great, super
in the
great.
story.
That's also a thing that happened in the second Halloween movie that sucked. Like, there's so many scenes retread just for, like, fanboyism, it felt like, where it's just kind of like, we don't need to do things this way. Why are you doing it this way?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was a conscious choice for that reason or whatever.
The movie that Halloween Kills made me think of the most was The Empire Strikes Back. Another middle of the trilogy movie that sidelines Luke for most of the story. Luke Skywalker spends most of Empire Strikes Back like training away from the main action. And then when he finally steps up at the end to go be a hero, like his best friend's already stolen. He loses his hand and finds out he'll never be pure again because his father is Darth Vader. Like, I love that this movie, and we talked about it last week, that Halloween 2018 feels off thematically. Like, it feels
like what are they going for here?
Yeah, like, and I've heard them talk a lot about it. I like author intent when it informs my own opinions on things I was already thinking about it.
Selective author intent.
Yeah. They talked a lot about how this new trilogy of Halloween movies is about confronting trauma. If the very first Halloween was about innocence confronts evil, these movies are about trauma confronting evil. And I think that is very clear in 75% of Halloween 2018. And then they're like, but actually, thank God we had trauma. Otherwise, we would have got killed by Michael Myers. And it feels off.
Yeah, it really did.
This movie is very much about, like, an entire town's trauma. And I think you make a good point in that, like, it would have made more sense if Michael Myers was a bigger killer in this.
Yeah.
But he holds the weight to me as an audience member, so therefore I bought it.
That's the thing. I feel like it relies on that. It relies on audiences knowing who Michael Myers is and like caring about that and the gravity of like how big of a horror icon he is. Yeah. Instead of it happening in the actual text of what's happening, which is what I have the problem with.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think of, like, what the answer to that problem is. I guess there's a couple of scenes where, like, you know, Tommy has to, I buy that Tommy and Lindsay and Marion, and I guess Lonnie, I don't know, that was kind of shoehorned in.
Yeah, but, like, that was unnecessary.
I buy that they would be stuck in the Michael Myers trauma. So, like, maybe if we got a scene where, like, where some guy's like, I don't know, it's just some dude who killed some teenagers a couple years ago, and Tommy's like, you don't understand. Here's why it's so important to me. Here's why it should be important to you. And, like, if he can make that argument, like, I guess I could clear that up.
Well, he got up on stage to do that, I guess, theoretically, but I was true. So checked out. It was so hammy and dumb, and it's kind of like, I don't even know. He saw Michael Myers from his window. I think that was it. I would have to rewatch the first movie again with the intent of seeing, like, did these kids even physically see Michael Myers? Oh, they
definitely do.
Okay.
Lori, like, brings them upstairs, and she's like, don't worry, it's totally fine. He's totally safe.
Okay.
and the kids are like, great. And then he comes upstairs, and it's like, Lori, you look like an idiot.
Well, she did a pretty good job, like, protecting them from it, I guess. Especially because then they're able to, like, run out and go get help from the neighbors and everything, too.
It's the same reason I never say anything confidently, because I'm like, I would never say, like, Michael Myers is dead. I would be like, I just stabbed him, but who knows?
So another thing too, like, cut off his head. Then, like, they had him down on the ground. They're like, oh, for sure he's dead. It's like, if you, the way that you had a giant mob come and kill him because he's, like, unkillable and because you think he's the embodiment of evil, because you said evil dies tonight so many times that want me to blow my brains out. Just chop off his head, cut off his limb. Like, he's not dead until you do that. Every character made such a dumb choice, which is, like, not... a lot of horror movies are predicated on that, right? A lot of, like, plot devices and things happen because characters do dumb things, and you can make the argument that if you are running away or being chased from a killer, you're not in the right frame of mind, you're not going to do the smartest things. I can buy that for a certain amount of it, but it just felt like everybody makes the dumbest choices, so I couldn't care about anybody dying.
I definitely had there's a really fun scene where the Marion Lindsay group, and then the doctor and nurse.
Okay, yeah, I was like, is that the one with the doctor and the nurse couple?
Marion acts like a true idiot, but, like, in a way that I kind of buy. Like, she has a gun and, like, she knows Michael Myers is, like, skulking around the car, and so she's, like, shooting out the windows.
And can't shoot for shit either, and then I don't want to step on your toes. Were you going to keep going with the scene?
Yeah, well, I just feel like I love this scene because that to me is, like, the perfect encapsulation of, like, these characters are acting like idiots in a way that I would 100% be acting if I was in a Michael Myers situation. Like, they get killed in the funniest ways. This entire, it feels like it's playing with the expectations. Like, they set up this husband and wife couple very early on that the wife is kind of domineering and she's like, you need to stand up for yourself. And he's like, I don't want to stand up for myself. I'm a big coward. And so he does get his arc where when Michael Myers is like killing Marion, he tries to strangle Michael Myers without realizing that he's a horror god and can do whatever he wants. So it's like, he does stand up for himself. He has a character change and then he gets immediately stabbed in the eye. It's very funny. And then his wife, who is so confident about her ability to shoot a gun.
Yeah, she's like, I've shot guns before. I'm hard. I know what I'm doing.
She is opening fire on the car that Michael Myers is in. And Michael kicks open the door and she accidentally shoots herself in the face.
Yeah.
It is so funny. It is so good. It is somebody like getting their comeuppance. It's like, that's what you get for, again, just like Laurie saying Michael Myers is for sure dead. He comes up the stairs. I for sure know how to shoot a gun. And then I got killed by a gun. Very funny, very good. I definitely get what you're saying about the final scene where they, stab and shoot him plenty and then he comes back. But I just feel like they probably don't have the information that, we are being given in that moment, that Michael Myers is no longer. Like, that to me is the moment that Halloween, this trilogy rather, switches from being about a person to about being a supernatural creature.
Okay, so we can talk about that scene here for a second then. So the dad is there with the two kids, who is Laurie's daughter and the boyfriend, who, by the way, still sucks. I hate that character and don't think she should have taken him back. They should still be, like, having, butting heads over what happened instead of her just being like, oh, I instantly forgive you for being a douchebag and we're still together.
Oh, I 100% immediately forgive him.
Oh.
Her dad just died. She's like, yeah, this is the thing I'm focused on. You want to help me kill the man that killed my dad? Yeah, let's.
It's more like she should just be over all of this shit. She should be like, I don't have time for your bullshit. I'm determined to kill Michael. But so, okay, the three of them go. She's already got experience with hunting down Michael. She made like this big choice where like her mom didn't want her to go off with the mob of people wanting to kill Michael, but she was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyway. And so she did. And so they get to the house and then the dad is like, no, you kids stay in the car. I'll go kill Michael Myers myself because I think I can do it. And you're like, what? Uh-huh. So they just sit there and he fucking dies. And it's like, okay, cool. So instead of having like 3 against 1, now you've got 2 against 1 and only one of you has like experience with shooting a gun, I guess, which is Laurie's granddaughter.
Yeah, that's a great point. There's like nothing that you achieve character-wise or story-wise by having them wait in the car.
Yeah,
besides, they just wait.
Yeah, it totally kills the momentum for Allison, and like what she was setting out to do, and then just like also pads the movie, and then just adds another body, and you kill a character we don't care about. Also, like I don't know, like why? What was the point of it? And yeah. Even before that, like, they spend so much time on the couple who now owns the Michael Myers house, like, setting them up. And
absolutely the best part of that movie.
I mean, I would have rather had the movie be just about them, but it's not. They're just there to get killed, which was unfortunate. And for some reason, they're called Big John and Little John. I don't know what the choice was with that.
So funny. Well, because they like, okay, this movie has a big... I don't know if I would like. It's a problem for everybody, but
a tone shift, just like with what's her face getting shot in the face. These guys feel like a comedic tone shift as well.
Yes, and I like that. And I think I actually know
if it was more consistent, I could like it. But it's just like there's 2 spots and that's it.
Here's the thing I'll say. And I was watching this movie and realizing that is what was going on. That like we are shifting into a hilarious sitcom with Big John and Little John, and why I love it so much thematically because this movie is about your trauma, right? You are dealing with a Michael Myers thing, whether Michael Myers is there or not, right? Laurie has spent her entire life dealing with a Michael Myers situation. And now we're learning that Tommy and Lindsay and the rest of them are kind of doing that too. And it's a tragedy. They're living in this Michael Myers world. And then we get Big John and Little John to remind us that, like, there's a world outside of your trauma. There is a world, like, this is kind of what we're fighting for. I feel like the last Halloween movie did it really well, too, with, like, the little kid who loved dance. It's just, like, there's a world beyond this. There's something to look forward to. There's something to fight for. in terms of not just killing Michael Myers, but like getting over Michael Myers. There's something beautiful about the world that you could experience if you could stop thinking so much about Michael Myers. And when I was thinking about it in that sense, I was enamored by it. I was like, this is
man,
the,
Mikey, I feel like you had to do, like, I like that thought process, and I think you were giving the movie too much credit. You were doing more work than the movie did to get you there. Like, I don't think the movie did a good job showing that at all.
Potentially. I mean, that's true. Like, if the comedy doesn't, like, that's one of those things. Like, I thought that was so funny, and it was so weird the way that those guys said each other's names every time they talked to each other. Like,
there's so much of them just kind of plotting around their house, and then when one of them dies, the other one comes in and, like, instead of running for his life or being sad about the fact that his boyfriend or husband is dead, he just, like, sees Michael and he's like, oh, Michael, you came home, and then just lets himself be killed. I was like, why?
That is the moment, and I think that is like, the same as, like, Evil Dies Tonight, that the mob keeps, like, shouting to each other. There are these moments that are so overly scripted in this movie. That, like, the Big John, Little John stuff is, like, screenwritery. It's like, human beings don't talk like that, but they want you to remember that these characters' names are Big John and Little John, and they're so enamored with that joke, and it's like, I love that joke, so it's like, as much as you want to hit me with it, I'm great. Evil Dies Tonight is not a thing people say when they're consumed by fear. It's
really not. Even if you're in a giant mob screaming things, it's just like, what? Okay. Again, he's only killed 5 people as far as you know, or like maybe 6, and it's like, yes, the evilest man who has ever lived. Evil Dies Tonight, that's what we call him.
It's almost Shakespearean, the way these characters are, like, stepping forward. And I think when Little John dies, he finds his boyfriend/husband dead, and he stands up, like, as though he's stepping forward in, like, a play to deliver his big line. And he says, Michael, you've come home. And it's like, why do you think that? I think that might be the difference between our opinions on this movie. All of these things that you hate, I noticed, and I was like, that's a funny choice. That's a weird thing to do.
I mean, it is, and I think that's why, like, it felt tonally inconsistent. If it was something like, you know, one of the middle Chucky movies that is trying to, like, ham it up, it's trying to be, like, kind of brutal, but also funny. And I haven't seen those movies, so maybe they're trying to say something more thematically. But, like, this just felt so muddled. Like, if you ask me what the theme of this movie is, I don't know. Is it, like, mob justice is okay until it's not?
Well, it's, like, and this is what's kind of interesting
turning victims into killers because you're turning these people who were victims of this crime, like, demonizing them because they turn into a mob? Like, what was with that choice? It feels victim-blamey and weird. I did not like it.
I am really enamored by it in the same way I was enamored by the choice to make Laurie this, like, horrible monster who had to have her child taken from her in the last movie. This idea that trauma turns us into monsters is very interesting. And I'm, like, I don't think it was super successful, but I, like, appreciate the effort. It's very much a game recognized game kind of thing for me, where I'm like, you tried to make the protagonist of this movie the town, and it kind of falls apart, but, like, cool idea. And I think that's, like, an interesting idea to, like, explore, is how a series of events like this could affect a town like that. Like,
yeah, I think that's a good point. I really like the concept of it. I don't think they stuck the landing whatsoever, but that concept is good. I think that there can be a lot said about that.
And I will say it did the same thing for me that the last movie did, where 75% of the way it shifts. And can I tell you what I thought was going to happen in this movie?
Yeah, what do you think was going to happen?
Okay, so they all kill Michael Myers. The town gets together, they beat the shit out of him.
In quotation marks, kill, yes.
Yeah. And then Karen, so Karen, it kind of becomes the voice of, like, holy shit, we have become a mob, we're going to kill a little cutesy-wootsy man.
Yeah, she's the only voice of reason, basically, the entire movie.
And she's saying, like, calm down, we're going to do something horrible here. And then they do something horrible. They kill this guy. And then,
like,
Karen...
They target the completely wrong person with their anger, too. Like, they're not even checking. They don't care.
Which to me, that is, like, that's what this movie is about. Like, if the movie had been less, like, in the same way that, like, the first Halloween 2018, rather, should have been about, like, Laurie saying, like, I'm going to let this go. I'm going to let this trauma go. Like, I think that the
Or move
story of
past
this
it in
movie
some way.
is about what this mob does to this man. Because that's like the horrible thing, but that's kind of fascinating that like, you know, we as people do to celebrities, you know, we've decided that like,
Celebrities?
like why can't I think of anything? It's like we're like
Britney Spears, maybe? What happened to her by
because here's the thing, I want to be careful to not like defend celebrities who are monsters, but like Drake is somebody who comes up, like everybody loves Drake, and then it comes out that Drake is like kind of a creepy.
Oh, okay, so it's about him himself, not like the mob, how people react. Okay,
Yes,
sorry. That's why I was saying
see,
Britney.
and that's why this is like a hard
Okay.
example to claim, like
Uh-huh.
because I don't want to defend Drake, but also we aren't mean enough to Drake. Like Drake 100% wants to make out, allegedly, with Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things. Like, it's weird what Drake is doing. We should all be more upset about
I
it.
haven't heard about that. Oh, gross.
Yeah,
Even
it's not
worse. Great.
It's like textbook grooming, and it's gross. But, like, if that comes out, I guess Bill Cosby is the answer. Like, Bill Cosby, where, like, we hate Bill Cosby so much that, like, if Jerry Seinfeld comes out and says, like, you know, he's still a great comic and he did a lot to influence me, it's like, well, fuck you, Jerry Seinfeld, too, for just being associated with him. Like, there is this, like, kind of... And that does feel very mob mentality-ish of, like, if I'm going to be the type of person who is against Bill Cosby and his actions, I have to hate everybody who is not. It's us versus them. Evil dies tonight. And I do like that idea, and I like exploring that through a Michael Myers movie. All that is to say, here's what I thought was going to happen.
Okay.
I thought Karen was going to be very sad that bouncy baby boy jumped off the hospital and died because of the mob.
Uh-huh.
She goes and she fucks up Michael Myers with the crowd, and she's the one who delivers seemingly the final knife blow into the back of his lower spine, right?
Uh-huh.
Karen has done it.
Severing
and then she
his
goes,
spinal cord.
Yes. She goes upstairs into Michael's bedroom, which this movie makes a big
she also
deal
pitchforks
about.
him, too. So, like, Michael does the fake out and kills, like, Tommy and the old sheriff and everybody else in that crowd because they all wait to get killed one by one, because that's cool.
Uh-huh.
And then she has a fucking pitchfork, literally pitchforks him in the back when he's about to kill her daughter. And then she goes and does that. So it's like, oh yeah, surely he's dead now, this time.
Right. Yeah. Okay. No, he's not.
Okay.
So the movie makes this big deal about looking out the window that Michael did as a child. He looked out the window, and everybody's like, was he looking out at the town? It's like, maybe he was looking in on himself and what he was.
Yeah, with his reflection in the glass.
Karen goes and does that
outside.
herself. So I was like, yo, Karen couldn't save this man from the mob.
Mm-hmm.
She goes and, like, she's, like, fighting against the mob to save this guy, and then they win, and then she joins them.
Yeah, like, that's the thing, too. It makes them stop doing, like, the mindless bloodlust at the hospital, but then there's still a killer mob. Like, them killing that guy doesn't really do that much. And then, yeah, like you said, Karen just decides to join them also. So, like, thematically, what are you trying to say with that?
Exactly. These movies would be better without Michael Myers. It should be about Laurie's reaction, and then they don't have to deal with, like, okay, but we actually do have to have a set piece with Michael Myers. And it should be about what a mob does over the threat of Michael Myers. And Karen can judge them and be like learn to grow from them. But
yeah, like be some sort of reflection of that, inform it in some way.
This movie 100% should have ended with Karen becoming new Michael Myers. She failed that man. She let him die. She joined them herself. She is becoming evil. She goes up to the window and looks out the window the same way we are told Michael Myers does the entire time. The question is, why does Michael kill? I don't know. But when you go up to that window and look at yourself and look at the horrible things you know about yourself, with Michael, we don't know what it is. But with Karen, we know. It's that she let bouncing baby boy die, and now she just drove a knife into another man. Karen becomes new Michael Myers.
I don't think she blames herself for that guy dying, though. She did everything within her power to keep him from living. I think she still blames the mob for that. I don't think she blames herself.
Oh, I think she blames herself.
Okay.
I don't know. There's really no evidence one way or the other. But all that is to say, then the third movie in the trilogy can be Laurie looking at what her deep dive into trauma has done to her daughter. If Karen is the Michael Myers in the third movie, then Laurie finally has to say, maybe this can't be about building fire basements and learning how to shoot guns. Maybe this finally has to be about me walking away. and she can finish her arc that was started in the first movie. God damn, I want to write that movie now.
I would much rather watch that.
And the way they shoot that bizarre Michael pulls the knife out of his back and slaughters the rest of the town that just slaughtered him.
Yeah, and they stand
It's shot
and
like a
wait for him
dream
to do it.
sequence. It's shot like this bizarre music video that doesn't quite make sense.
Yeah, it's
And
very strange.
while Karen is looking out the window, I'm just like, yo, this is your movie. Karen did that. Karen killed Tommy.
Well, I think another problem is that there is no focal point character. Like, you keep getting shuttled around and you keep thinking, oh, this is going to be the viewpoint character, this is going to be the viewpoint character, and then suddenly you're an hour and a half into the movie and you're like, wait a minute, who am I following? Who am I supposed to care about?
Right.
Especially when they did this flashback in the beginning that seems to suggest that the sheriff guy is going to be more important. Or not sheriff. Is he the sheriff at this point? I think he is in the movie, but in the past he wasn't.
Like I don't know what he is. I want to say they called him Deputy. You're talking about Deputy Walker, the guy who got stabbed and who's in the hospital?
Yes, yeah. The cop from the first movie who totally looks like he died, but he somehow just didn't. I guess the doctor guy from the first movie was really bad at doing kills. Again, so couldn't live up to his hero, Michael Myers. But
He's
so you think it's going to
incarnate.
be about him because they have that very long flashback that even has like Dr. Loomis in it, which do they do like a deep fake Dr. Loomis?
I read about it. They have an actor who looks a ton like Dr. Loomis.
Okay.
And so he played the body, and then they had a voice actor do the voice.
Oh,
And
okay,
ADR'd
interesting.
it over it.
You know,
so
I
it is
mean-
an actor who's there.
Talk about Star Wars. They did that with like young Carrie Fisher for Rogue One.
That's what I thought it was. And it was almost like my brain tricked me into thinking he looked like he was being CGI'd into it. But it's like, no, that was an actor on set.
Okay, yeah, because I was also trying to think, like, did they rip this from the original movie? Did they have, like, a shot like this that maybe he's supposed to be, they, like,
I thought
inserted?
that first flashback
like
scene
that...
was...
Oh, sorry.
That first flashback scene was awesome. Like, that it felt like it was from that first Halloween movie. I loved that.
Yeah, the cinematography of it was very cool. They're trying to show, like, a different aspect of that same night, which I think was an interesting concept, because we didn't really see, like, what, like, more law enforcement was doing. I guess the sheriff at the time, because his daughter is one of the people who gets killed and is Laurie's friend. Like, he is in the movie a bit, but he doesn't really do much except for, like, kind of shadow Loomis the whole time and be like, you're crazy, there's nothing going on. And then he's like, oh, it's all your fault, Loomis, for me not doing my job to keep people safe. So showing a different perspective of that and how it affected this other character. Yeah, I thought with so much emphasis being put on that scene in the beginning, I thought he was going to be more important than he's just in the hospital with Laurie the whole time, and just him and Laurie have nothing to talk about except for they made out in a bar one time when they were younger, and then that's it.
That's it. Well, I think, like, the original plan was to shoot this movie and Halloween Ends at the same time and release
Oh, was
them.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
I know that so this movie did come out, or they finished it, like, the previous year, right? Or 2 years ago? Right. It was supposed to come out last year, and then it didn't. Which I can understand with all of the strife that went on in summer of 2020. They didn't want to have giant mobs hunting down people.
Right.
A couple months
can't
later.
film this movie with COVID restrictions.
Yeah, and then also with COVID stuff going on. So they were going to film all three of them at the same time, Mikey, or
No, they
Kills
were going
and Ends?
Kills and Ends.
Okay, gotcha.
And now Ends is filming, like, in January to release this year. So they're like,
Oh,
that feels like
wow,
it's on a tight
okay.
timeline.
Interesting.
But I feel like more so than even though 1 and 2 are on the same night, it does feel like this is kind of what I want from a trilogy, where it's like it's clear that Hawkins and Laurie are going to have a lot to do in the third movie, but I feel like we don't know what this movie is really getting at until the last one. I feel like these little bits of, like, tonal incongruity that both movies suffer from are going to be answered in the third one. And it's not until the third one that I can really say, like, oh, they stuck the landing or not, because it feels like they are building to something that they have to say about trauma and Laurie's specific relationship to it, that they've only told, I was going to say half the story, but I guess it's 2/3 of the story.
I guess that's another reason why it feels so weak to me, because it's just, like, in the middle and doesn't stand on its own. Like, if you had not watched the movie before this and you didn't know there was going to be a movie after, if they were never making a movie after, this would be, like, kind of nothing. Like,
I mean, that is kind of how I feel about Empire Strikes Back.
I guess so, but like that was supposed to be a grand space opera. This is like, I guess a slasher,
A grand
killer
kill
movie.
opera.
There's not as much like intricate stuff going on, I guess, where like you could totally have a movie like this that could stand on its own, but also informs like a trilogy and is part of a trilogy. But this felt like it leans so hard on the fact that a movie came before it and a movie is going to come after it that, like you said, it's kind of hard to even judge it in some ways because you're like, well, this isn't even the whole story, so what am I supposed to think about it right now?
Yeah.
Which I don't like. I don't like feeling like that.
I do. I mean, that to me is like the joy of
I think you like the
TV.
potential of what could happen afterwards. So you can like kind of imagine what's going to happen afterwards. And then you can be disappointed or happy with it, I guess.
and now I'm allowed to like make my own guesses. As
Of
to,
course, yeah. That there's some fun in that.
It's Schrodinger's third act. Like anything is true until you make a movie about it.
Yeah.
Whew, Roxy,
Mikey, I got a question for you.
you got a question for me?
I do have a question for you. So if you... There was a lot of emphasis in this movie placed on Michael returning home. So I wanted to ask you, if you could return to a favorite spot from your childhood, what would it be?
There was a place, a park deep in the woods of like, and this is like 9th grade. So it's
Okay. And that's still your
tail end of
childhood,
childhood.
okay? The high school is still childhood, so...
I feel like I was a child until I was 29.
Yeah, yeah.
That's when I started taking antidepressants and talking about my feelings. I'm
glad you're working
would go
through
with
stuff.
my friends to this park that was like in the middle of the woods, and we called it Secret Park. And you could like
Oh, okay.
like
All right.
climb through the woods, and like nobody knew it was there. And this is gonna sound like, listen, if I smoked pot, I would be happy to describe how much I smoked pot. I did not. My friends loved to smoke pot, and they would go smoke a bunch of pot in Secret Park, and I wouldn't. But it was just so fun to hang out with my friends in this weird, bizarre little park. I think I only went there 1 or 2 times. But what a cool little thing, like a little like discovery to find in the middle of the woods. And yeah, if I was the very embodiment of evil and I was heading towards a childhood place of meaning, I would head towards Secret Park. How about you?
And you just sit on the swing set and smoke some weed since you never got to before. It'll go full
No,
circle.
I mean, I've smoked weed since then, and not my bag. My
But
poor
not
little
at that
brain.
park. Not at that park, though, Mikey.
That's a great point.
You're coming home.
Fuck, I'll try it.
Yeah. So it's funny that you say that it's a secret park in the woods because mine is sort of similar to that, actually.
Whoa.
There's a bunch of bike trails that connected to like 2 little small parks. The parks themselves weren't as distinctive, but I would hang out with friends at those from time to time and just going on those bike trails by yourself. It's like a very meditative experience. You're like in the sort of suburban setting, but then suddenly it feels like you're not anymore. And they would connect out to this spot that was like, they were obviously going to develop it for housing, but hadn't yet. So there's a bunch of fields and there's you can see the coast actually. So like I grew up in Alaska, like in Anchorage, which is a coastal town. So you can see out into the ocean and there's enough of a cliff face that you can't see like the gross mud flats that are there before the ocean.
Hate a mud flap.
They're really gross and they also kill people. That might be another thing to talk about how scary those are. But there was this field you could go out to, and I remember very distinctly kind of just like laying down and looking up at the sky, and you can see nothing except for the sky. And it's just this very kind of meditative, cool experience that, I don't know, kind of puts things in perspective, makes you think about how small you are, and also just like being able to see nothing but sky in like, again, this sort of like suburban setting is not like normal. So it felt kind of like unique, out of place location. That
Roxy, that's
kinda
lovely.
magical.
I never pictured you as a look up in the sky and think about your place in the world sort of person.
I don't know, like I remember in like middle school and high school, I kept waiting for like that cool thing that's going to change your life forever to happen. Like, oh, you find a magic amulet, or you find like, I don't know, a traveler from another world, or some
I thought
cool.
you meant like your true love, or like that one relationship that really
Well,
matters.
also
to you.
that too. You know, you just keep waiting for like the time when you're gonna turn to like the cool main character of your own story. Kind
You're
of
waiting
just
for your
kinda-
movie to start.
Yes, exactly. And sort of like musing about when that's gonna happen, or oh, maybe it'll happen here because I found this cool, unique location.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure in some way I'm still searching for that, but was a lot more doing that as a kid, and that's definitely part of it.
I think you're going to. And worst case scenario, I'll write a movie about you.
Okay, good, cool. I can live vicariously through that. Awesome.
Roxy, on a scale from 1 to 9, not 10 because 10 does not exist in the scary basement. Don't tell me it does.
No number 10.
How likely do you think the events of Halloween Kills are to happen in real life?
Mob justice in America happens a lot and happened a lot. 9 out of 9.
Yep.
Definitely happened.
I said 7 just because I wanted to account for the utterly preposterous ending of this movie.
The supernatural,
yes, 100%.
unkillable man. Yeah. Normally it's just poor people getting killed or whatever.
Sure. I mean, I think it even happens not necessarily in like violent terms, but like, you know, your friends all have an opinion and you all kind of fall under that same opinion. And all of a sudden you find yourself like, do I actually hate The Bachelor or do I just hate The Bachelor because all my friends hate The Bachelor? And all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, I kind of like The Bachelor.
Yeah, you were sort of talking about that earlier.
It's easy to fall into opinions based on whoever you're around. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah.
Good. We solved it. Let's not do that.
We solved the internet?
Our own opinions at all times.
Yeah, there we go.
You and me.
It is time to collect your souls. I mean, it is time to collect your bets.
Roxy, last week we made a bet. One more time, it was the classic kill count. We made a bet as to how many bodies would turn up in Halloween Kills. I said 15. You said 36.
Yeah, I said 36 because...
I counted 26.
26. Okay, so it's like halfway in between both of us. So which... Or
No,
like, what's the number?
You won by 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess. Okay.
I was off by 9, you were off by 10. But also the fact that you went with a higher number and it's...
Wait, if you're off by 9...
people died.
Doesn't that mean you win?
Or I'm sorry, I'm off by 11.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, wait a second. I don't deserve that win.
Yeah. But yeah, you got it. Here were the kills I counted.
25. Or 26? 25.
I counted 26. I got
26.
one partner cop in the flashback. I actually went back and rewatched the fireman scene. There were 7 firemen that we saw.
God, I didn't even register how many of those there were. How many firemen?
That couple that had a drone. Again, that was funny.
That wasn't the thing we didn't even talk about either. That was just like, why? Okay.
Just a couple. There's a couple that has a drone that get killed by Michael Myers, and then as the wife is dying, Michael's in the background just stabbing extra knives into the guy's body, which is very funny. Like, why would he do that?
That's a good question. I do not understand.
That was fun. 4 killed in the park. 1 cutie little mental patient. I just thought that.
Oh, we didn't talk about how he also killed children for the first. No, I guess he did kill kids before. But it was more like they were in his way. Those 2 kids who were trick-or-treating like ran off to not be in his way anymore, and he went out of his way to kill them, which is also another weird thing. Anyway, we're done talking about
I don't think he killed those 2 kids, but he killed their third friend who...
He killed the third friend first. And because they were like, where's that one guy? He was supposed to show up. Why isn't he here? Yeah. And then he's holding the mask.
Those other 2 kids got away.
No, because they were dead on the...
I think that was the doctor and his wife.
I want to say Ferris wheel? Ferris wheel is wrong. No, because he had the mask from the kids, right? Mm-hmm. Did the kids leave the mask there? I thought they were the bodies of the kids. But yeah, I
think the kids escaped.
Well, they at least killed the one kid who didn't show up, so whatever.
a strange mythology thing, and I don't know if this is a hint or not. Of those 3 kids, the only one he killed was the one who went inside the Myers home to like steal that candy. They like pulled that little prank on Big John and Little John.
There's no way he could know that though. But I guess it's if he's
more than a man.
Yeah, he's supernatural Michael Myers. He would have a sense for, did somebody step inside the threshold? Some sort of weird vampire rule.
Here's a little reference, and this is why I was looking for that movie. Apparently those masks that those kids were wearing are references to Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Yep. Yeah, I noticed that too.
So that's cool.
They just missed zooming in on a shamrock medallion on it to make the reference stick even more, even though those movies aren't canon in this movie either.
Yeah,
it's like, okay,
there's a lot of stuff that they were just referencing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had 1 partner cop, 7 firemen, 2 couples, 2 in the couple, 4 in the park, 1 cutie mental patient, 2 Big John and Little Johns, 2 Lonnie and Camerons, and 7 in the final scene that involved the mob, the sheriff, and Karen finally.
Okay.
Which also I went back and rewatched, and it's hard to tell. There's like cuts, like
with
so
Karen.
Worst case,
with Karen or with the mob?
No, it's just like there's like various people getting slashed in that mob scene. So it's like It's at least 26. It's probably more. I feel like I read, because I was also looking for an article that just told me the number, and they had mentioned
just
that, like,
double check your work. Yeah.
after we see the drone couple get killed, apparently on the news radio, they talk about how there was another couple he had killed before them. So it's like, the answer is you won the bet. I
guess
it, Roxy.
so. The big number. I was not expecting to. I was totally expecting to lose this one.
Yeah, no, we're impressed by you.
I'm very impressive. You should be impressed by me.
Roxy, did you catch that gleam?
Is it the mirror?
The universal mirror, which of course lets us look into the universe of the movie we watched.
Sometimes we go into the mirror too, but I think we're just chatting on the surface of it.
The rules are
today,
hard
right?
to keep track of.
We can do both. Why not?
Okay, great. Yeah, I think there's somebody in the mirror. Let's go talk to them.
Excuse me, who are we talking to?
I'm Allison, Laurie Strode's granddaughter. My mom just got killed by Michael Myers, so,
Jesus, Allison, I'm so sorry. You must be devastated.
Well, it's like, what did I expect? We went up against Michael Myers, you know? The guy's on a roll, just slaughtered those firefighters. Best killer in the game right now. You gotta put respect on his name.
It almost sounds like you have a grudging respect for Michael Myers.
Listen, I'm Team Haddonfield for life, but tonight, Michael Myers was the better killer, straight up.
I know exactly what you're going through, Allison.
Aren't your parents still alive, Mikey?
Oh, they are. But I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan, and they get crushed at least a couple times a season.
Losing your parents isn't quite the same as losing a football game.
No, losing your parents is exactly like losing a football game. You know, you're not just gonna be mad at the other team because they're better. You gotta take the L with grace.
Plus, if you get all salty, you just know the football gods are gonna, like, take away a touchdown because of a holding penalty.
Yeah, or the regular god will punish you by having a serial killer stab your mother to death.
You gotta just be like, damn, we'll get him next time.
Exactly. You know, we'll get him next time. On to next Halloween.
I guess I would have thought you'd be, inconsolable.
What do you want me to say? Sure, I'm disappointed my mom's dead, but I can't live in the past. Be a goldfish, you know? Shortest memory of any animal alive.
From Ted Lasso.
I love Ted Lasso.
Well, Allison, Michael Myers is still on the loose. Are you going to hunt him down? Take him on again?
Oh, damn right. Damn right I am. You know, and there's a long time until next Halloween, so I'm going to take target practice, do push-ups, hit the gym.
Well, again, as a Minnesota Vikings fan, I know that there is only so much you can do in the off-season.
Oh, absolutely. You know, we'll work hard for next Halloween, but ultimately it will come down to whoever has the most bloodlust. Michael Myers or the town of Haddonfield, Illinois. And he's going to be tough to beat, no doubt. No doubt.
We could be looking at a dynasty here.
Before you start prepping for next season, Allison, I know the first few days after losing someone you care about can be the most difficult. How are you going to spend the next few days?
I don't know yet. We lost. I guess we're just going to have to sit with that.
You know, whenever I go to a bar to watch the Vikings play and they lose, I like to be a good sport and go shake hands with the fans of the other team. You know, let them know, good game, no hard feelings.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't really know who I do that with. The devil?
Okay, Allison, this big feud between your family and Michael Myers, how do you see it all ending?
To be honest, probably the same way it ended tonight. I don't know. Michael always seems to win. We had him locked in a fire basement and he still came back. It's like we're cursed.
Again, I know exactly how you feel.
Don't say a football thing, Mikey.
The Minnesota Vikings are cursed too. They always miss field goals whenever the game is on the line. Perfect kicker, all season, get to the playoff, comes down to the last kick, wide left. Without fail, no matter what. Now, whenever the Vikings line up for a kick, I am so stressed out. It's like, really? We're really doing this? Is it gonna end in heartbreak again?
That's how I feel whenever I step foot inside the Myers family home. Like, oh God, are we doing this? Are we really doing this again?
It's so tense. I hate it.
It's so tense. Oh my God.
Well, Allison, sorry about, everything. Better luck next time. I hope next year is your year.
Thanks. And hey, you know what they say. Any given Halloween.
And we're back.
Allison and you really like sports. Cool. You should go to a sport game together of something. Go see the Minnesota Vikings.
That's what I love about sports, is that they bring people together. Whether or not you like the Vikings as much as I do, you have a team that you love and you can bond over it.
What about when drunk dudes tip over cars and do crimes because their football team lost or won?
That's how you let them know you need a change for next season.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh shit, here he comes, the old demon bot.
Congratulations, you have successfully reviewed Halloween Kills. Your souls are safe for another week. For next week, you must review the 1994 film Wes Craven's New Nightmare, directed, obviously, by Wes Craven and starring Heather Langenkamp and Robert Englund. If you do not, your souls are forfeit and I shall claim your bodies as my own.
Okay, so Roxy, we gotta watch Wes Craven's New Nightmare, our first non-Halloween movie in months.
I'm excited. We get to hang out with Freddy in some capacity, and I haven't seen this movie before, so I'm excited.
That's exciting.
Hell yeah.
I saw it when I was a child and don't remember it super well, but it was like one of those movies that was always on TNT.
Oh, really? Okay.
TNT was the best network for horror movies. They would have
that was a cable channel, right?
Yeah.
Cable channel? Okay.
Let's make a bet.
Okay.
For next week, huh?
Bet time.
Roxy, how many times in Wes Craven's New Nightmare do you think somebody will startle out of a dream? And to clarify, that's the scene where like we're watching a scene and then somebody like goes, and
okay,
like, wow,
what about like
what we just saw was a
double fake outs? If they get faked out within the same dream, does it count as 1 or 2?
That would count as 2. That would be like if they bolt up, if their eyes snap open in bed, that counts. I'm going to say 6.
Okay, I'll undercut you a bit here and say 5.
Ooh, Price is Right rules.
I guess would it have been more? No, it is if I had gone 7 too, right? The same as Price is Right. It's been a long time since I've seen Price is Right. Over or under counts, right?
It's fine. They used to play reruns a lot on TNT.
No, okay. Well, we'll see how many times people get startled out of a dream in Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Excited to learn.
The pact has been sealed. I mean, the bet is confirmed. The winner is the one who successfully predicts the number of times people startle out of a dream. The winner will receive this authentic animatronic prop I have obtained from the set of the film.
Let's start getting out of this basement, but before we do, Roxy, what's making you happy? We've been wallowing in horror.
We have.
A chunk of time now. What's making you happy this week?
So I did something that has been on my list to get done for like at least a year at this point, which is figuring out the appropriate can recycling in Oregon. Which is super exciting, super exciting. But I had like 8 cans because like I drink like a caffeine drink every day, and for a while there it was these cans which I would just get like pallets of. So I had like 8 full garbage bags that were just taking up space in our freaking garage, and we have like a new roommate moving in who needed space. So I was like, okay, I need to actually like do something about this. So I figured out the system, and I'm gonna get cheaper groceries because they have a deal with local grocery stores where I can get an extra 20% on my can return fee.
Dude, Roxy, you're an environmentalist.
Yeah, and I get cheaper groceries now too, so I'm 2 for 2. Hell yeah. I feel like an accomplished adult. What about you, Mikey?
I'm proud of you. What's making me happy this week is, honestly, I loved Halloween Kills so much.
Mikey, really?
That,
okay.
Like, listen. When it came time for me to think of like what my making happy thing, I was like, the truth is I love Halloween Kills a lot. And so you know what? Between that movie and seeing him out in the real world, I think what's making me happy is a new friendship I'm developing with Michael Myers. What do you say, Michael? What do you say we put everything behind us, start over fresh? Maybe we go get a hot dog. How do you feel about that?
I mean, you're both named Michael. You got stuff in common. Why not?
Yeah.
I like this.
I can see I'm going to have to do... I think I'm going to have to do a lot of the conversational heavy lifting, but I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
I mean, Michael is like a mirror to other people who interact with him at times, thematically. So, yeah.
Do you think I hated myself until just now?
It's possible. Maybe you've just had to finally forgive yourself, Mikey.
What do you think about that, Michael?
Your future.
All right, so nothing.
I mean, maybe. What do you think, Mikey?
No, that's fine. I like it.
Okay.
I like it. I think he said something smart.
Just remember to keep some chocolates in your pocket. That's all I'll say.
I'm going to sneak them to him. Roxy, each week the Demon Bot hires a new monster to guard the basement door and keep you and I from escaping. But each week we still escape, except for last week when we spent the week in the
Yeah, we've
basement.
just been down here all week, except for that time you traveled to Starbucks. But
here's what's going on. Last week there was a Dracula and a mech. I was unprepared, so I did sneak out and get myself better prepared. There is no way whatever is going on outside of that door. I've got this dual laser chain gun. It's got infinite ammo, the barrel speed at a rate of 1400 RPMs, double bullets and lasers. Every other barrel in this chain gun fires a bullet or a laser. There is nothing that's going to stop us this week. You ready?
okay, man, I'm very impressed that you built that in a week, and you even found that infinite ammo headband, so it's like completely overpowered. I believe you when you say nothing's going to stand in your way. Let's do it.
Okay, here we go.
Okay,
going up
you
the
first.
stairs. Oh, this week it's just 2 rabbits.
What? It's 2 rabbits? Like murder rabbits from Monty Python or something? Like scary?
No, I think they're just regular rabbits. And
what?
It looks like they're in love.
Okay, I don't want to know how you know that. It's probably something I don't want to see up there.
Well, they're snuggling. They're snuggling their heads together.
Okay, well, that's actually pretty cute. I do want to see that.
Well, anyways, we got a dual laser chain gun, so...
No, they're fine. We can just walk away.
I killed all those people. Sorry, everyone. Well, I want a chocolate.